What an absolute gorgeous fish. Check him out. Another swan gem. Really distinctive looking fish that. So hello and welcome to another video. I'm back on Swan Lake on the Bluebell complex today, and I'm pretty pleased to say I'm off to an absolute flyer. In fact, something's just happened to me which has never happened before. I put the first rod out, I'm fishing zigs. I'm in this bay, the bay which I fished in part one. Fishing zigs, there's quite a few fish in the vicinity. I put one out and I was just about to put it on the rest and it ripped off in my hand. I could not believe it. So I've got a nice scaly mirror in the net. Not a big fish, it looks about a 20, but I'll get him up and show you, and then I'll touch on the session in a bit more detail. Well, what a lovely scaly banger to start us off. 21 pound 4 ounce has just gone. And he fell to a black and yellow zig. It was a yellow zig liner and a black piece of foam. I've got 12 foot of water out there in front of me, and this one was fished at 10 foot. He's a cracker, he is. He looks like one of the fish that's come out of mallard, that's been stocked in from mallard. And there we go, look, check him out. Proper scaly beast. I'll take him. I could not have asked for a better start. Literally 5 minutes of casting out. No, not even that, it ripped off in my hand, I couldn't believe it. I took longer tying the rigs up. There's a reason I wanted to be in this swim, which I'll touch on in a bit more detail in a bit. Lovely jubbly. Mwah. Go tell Grandad that Castelline's here and we want to see him. The viewers would really like to see him as well. Let's put him back. Well, it's been a couple of hours since I last spoke to you, and we've nicked another one. I can't believe my luck. It just goes to show, get yourself in the right place and it can be caught. Not a monster by any means. 23 pound 3 ounce this one's just gone. Another mirror. He has got a slight nick on his side here, which I'm going to treat in a minute. Oh, there we go, look. Can't grumble at that. Swan is renowned for being ridiculously hard. And I think sometimes, you know, when you looks in, you looks in. Quite a nice looking fish that as well. Lovely. Well, I've not been doing much today. I've been getting the rigs ready for tonight because I'm going to be switching on to bait later, but I'll touch on that in a bit more detail. So yes, let's get this little cracker back to his watery home. Well, cheers. I think we deserve a brew after them couple of fish. After having that first fish, most of the fish just drifted away, to be honest. There's been the odd fish coming in and out, but nothing like there was when I first got here. So, you know, I spent a bit of time making fresh rigs up ready for tonight. The rigs that I had in my rig wallet was a bit dull, to be honest, so I just tied all fresh rigs up. I'm not keen on sharpening the hooks, especially when I know they're going to be sitting out there all night. Once they start to corrode, you know, I believe it's just like it prevents them from going in nice and easy. A bit like sandpaper when you pull it across your skin, you know, I can expect a hook point to go in if it's like that. So I always prefer just to get a fresh hook out of the packet. But yeah, the zig rigs that I'm using, both bites have been 2 foot under the surface, but they've come from the margin. It's 10 foot that margin. I'm fishing an 8 foot zig there. In the main bowl of water, I've got 12 foot out in front of me, and I'm fishing 10 foot on them too. The fish that I have seen coming in and out mostly come in on the tree line, and they just sort of sit there. They don't really look like they're doing much, just enjoying the weather. But I have seen the odd fish, and they've been moving a lot closer in, and they're moving with a bit more pace, you know, look a little bit more catchable, a little bit more ziggy, so to speak. So that was the reason I went in with that method. When I first got here though, I did put some mixers out there just to see whether they'd start to take them. But as soon as they started to show any bit of interest, the gulls come and absolutely annihilated it. But anyway, I chose this swim ready for tomorrow really. We've got a heat wave due in tomorrow. And every time I've been here, whenever the sun's up, they always get in this corner. And there's a nice southeasterly blowing in, which blows into this bay as well. So it's looking pretty good for the zigs tomorrow. Hopefully I can get a couple going on the surface. It'd be really nice to catch one off the top. But tonight I'm going to put a little bit of bait out. When I say a little bit, I'm just fishing for a bite. I'm not going to fish a big baited area or anything like that, especially not in this bay. And not only that, the fish still really are having it in here. I don't know of anybody catching off big baited areas. But last time I was in this swim, I went in with the solid bags, 2mm pellets. And I had a bit of trouble with a catfish. Like I say, I lost a really big one and I landed a 42. So I've dropped the fish meal out of the mix really. I'm not going to go in on the solid bags this time. I've borrowed my mate Nick's bait belt again. So I'm going to go in with a particle mix that I went in with last time. Yeah, it's still sort of fish meal base, but it's mostly all particle. There's only a bit of ground up boilie in there, and it's heavily glugged with the food syrup, so it's quite a pungent mix. and it's very weedy. It's very silty, this bay, not weedy, and there's a lot of detritus out there because it's all tree lined. I mean, on most pulls back you get loads of black scummy stuff on your lead, and with that in mind I'm going to fish my pop-up rigs again. But I'm going to go slightly different on one. I'm going to put a food bait on one of them. I'm going to go in with the LM94, but I'm going to put a wafter on that one. And then the other two I'm going to go in with a banana and pineapple. Huge confidence in them, obviously. And hopefully we'll keep them catfish at bay. I think if I was to leave the zigs out there all night, I do think we'd have a catfish. And I want to try and avoid them if possible. So that's my plan of attack for tonight. The bites that I've had so far have come on yellow zigger liner and black foam. I've actually stepped it up a bit on this session because it's quite hit and hold in here. There's lots of tree roots, and you know, all the trees overhanging to the margins here. You know, I've gone a bit heavier than what I usually would on the zigs. I've got the Corda size 6 wide gapes on there. They're barbless. And the line I've got on it's the new trans khaki stuff from Fox, but that's in £15. It's just, you know, I want to land the fish. I mean, I've been sitting here with my waders on all the time, and I think if I hadn't have had the waders on, I don't even think I'd have landed either of them fish. It really is brutal in this swim. It's not very comfortable, to be honest, because of the way the branch hangs over, you've not got much room to manoeuvre when you're playing a fish. That last one actually wiped out one of my other rods. I had a bit of a tangle there, a bit of a mess which I had to sort out. But that's where we're at. It's started off really good, I can't believe it. I really can't. It's renowned for being rock hard, this place, and to have 2 bites in quite close, you know, well, within arriving really. It's only a matter of hours really. It's just blown me away. I've not seen no big fish drifting in yet, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll start to see a few more decent fish moving. But I'm happy to catch them fish. And you know, news around the lake is it's not fishing well again. I mean, I've had quite a few people come up to me and ask me what I'm doing. You know, saying it's fishing really hard. But the lad on the far side is fishing in the swim that I was in a couple of weeks ago. I believe it's called the Garden Swim. He's had a fish known as the Parrot this morning. A 42-pound mirror, that is. Beautiful fish, that. And again, he set up this morning like I did. And within an hour he'd caught that fish. So yeah, really positive. Well, I'm going to stop waffling. It's getting on for around about 6:30 now. I think I'm going to give it till around about 8 o'clock-ish, I reckon, before I put the main rods out. I'll leave the zigs out until then, because last time I fished here there was still quite a few fish drifting in and out in the afternoon. So I'm going to stop waffling on now, and I shall give you a bit of an update later once all the traps are reset and we're fishing on the bottom. Good evening, just setting the scene for tonight. The sun's just about set now. It's about 9:30. Although you wouldn't think so looking on the camera, because the camera's making it look a little bit lighter than what it actually is. But all 3 rods are set now. I've stuck to the reed line, to be honest. When I say reed line, I mean that far margin line. I've pulled away from this left hand margin. I'm a bit concerned that if I get a bite on that, you know, I wouldn't get my waders on in time and before the fish had a chance to get in there. So I've actually backed out a bit. I've gone a bit further over, just to the edge of where that reed line is. When I say just to the edge, it's about a rod length off. It's fishing 6 foot of water, that area. Last time I was here, I did see the odd fish show there early morning, so that's my reason behind putting it there. And then the middle rod, it's gone to this tree line over here, just where that dip is. That's about 2 rod lengths off. It's just where the drop off is. It starts to drop off. I'm fishing in 7 foot on that rod, and then as you come off of the ledge, it drops into 12 foot. So I'm just fishing on the ledge, so to speak. And the other rod, it is exactly the same, but because nobody is next door, I've pushed round a bit further. And I've gone over to that area, and that's about 2 rod lengths off as well. I've kept the bait in minimal. Oh, that was one roll right over my spot. Oh, come on. Did you see that? Ooh, that's a good sign. I've not seen anything really since that fish earlier. Oh yeah. That did look like it was cleaning his gills out as well. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm just fishing for a bite, just 2 little handfuls of bait in the hopper, and I've sent all 3 out with a bait boat. The right hand and middle, they're both on the banana and pineapple, and the left hand is on the wafter, the LM94. Rigs, same as last time really. I've just been bit by a mozzie, sorry about that. Little bugger. They're out in force. That's the trouble, when as soon as that sun comes and the summer kicks in, so do all the bloody mozzies. Can be a nightmare sometimes. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, rigs. I suppose you could call it the combi rig. But it's not a combination of 2 materials. It's actually the Nash combi link straight through with the bit stripped back at the bottom. So it creates a nice supple bit at the bottom, and where the divide is, I put a BB shot there and then a big blob of putty over that. I always like to overweight that. I believe it pulls that hook point down towards the fish's bottom lip before it even has a chance to come into contact with the lead. Yeah, I've had quite a lot of fish on that rig this year. In fact, 90% of the fish I've had this year have been on that rig. But that will change, especially when I move on to Grenville. But we'll touch on that in more detail when I get there. I can't wait for my time to start on there. The only thing that's really holding me back from starting early on there is the bait, because it's boilie only and it has to be freezer bait, and at the moment I can only get Shelf Life from Shimano, because the freezer bait has not gone into production yet. So as soon as I get my hands on that, I'll be full steam ahead on there. I don't know if I'll be coming back here. I might call this my last session on here for this year, because the fish still haven't spawned at the minute, and I think it's any time soon, to be honest. Once them fish are spawned, I'm gonna go and look elsewhere. I don't really want to catch them special fish when they're all spawned out. I'd rather catch them when they're up in weight, in prime condition. But like I say, they haven't spawned yet, so you know, there's one fish in particular that hasn't been out yet, the box common. I'd really love to catch that fish. The Perfect's been out and Dave's been out again. If I could pick one fish out of here to have at the moment, it would be the box. But if I could pick one fish to have out of here overall, over every other fish, it would be the Perfect common. I know most people like to go for Dave, but for me, I've not really had a big common. I've not had, like I say, that common that I had last time I was here, that was a PB for me. So yeah, I'm going to stop waffling on really. I'm going to get my tea on. I'm really looking forward to having my tea. I've not had much today, just the odd pasty really. I've got a couple of wraps that I'm going to have. I've got some fresh chicken breast and some homemade chilli sauce and some buffalo mozzarella. I'm going to wrap that up and stick it in a Ridge Monkey. Yes, so I'm going to stop waffling and wish me luck for tonight, and hopefully I shall see you bright and early. Well, good morning, and I've got an absolute banger to show you this morning. The left hand rod, the one fishing on that reed line, the only one that was out there on the LM94 wafter, and it's gone this morning. Oh, so I am totally made up with this. It's just gone £34.4, a lovely common. Let's get him up for you. Oh yes, check him out. What an absolute cracker. This session just cannot get any better. I am totally made up with this. It was nice getting them on the zigs yesterday, but for me, you know, getting one on the bait. Oh, there we go, look. What an absolute gorgeous fish. Mwah. He has made my session. And it's not an easy water, this. I know I'm making it look easy, but it's far from easy, this place. And I do think it's the baiting approach that makes all the difference. I really do. Absolutely pucker. It said a lot to me as well. I mean, in all honesty, I didn't think that wafter would go. I thought, you know, it was all the bits and pieces. A lot of faith in them 12mm banana and pineapples. But when this one rattled off, it just goes to show that they are still eating the bait. Well, I think it's time for a bit of an update. We're getting on for dinner time now. The sun's well and truly up and it is baking, let me tell you. It's not too bad for me where I am here though. I'm sat underneath a tree and I've got a bit of a breeze coming in through the trees. So I'm fairly pleasant, to be honest. Them on the other side of the lake look like they're sat there baking. But this isn't what I anticipated. I thought there'd be a few fish moving here by now. Normally when it gets hot, you know, them fish moving here in numbers, and I've not seen it yet, not at all. So with that in mind, I've kept 2 rods on the bait. I've not long slipped back a tench actually. I had a really good tench on the left hand rod. Getting on for £11 that fish. I didn't weigh it, but it was a big fish. It was a big tench that. I just slipped him straight back and put the rod back out there, but I have pushed in a little bit further. I've gone in, you see where the shadow line is, I've gone in a little bit further. It's 4 foot there. I think if we've got a chance of nicking a bite, I do think it's going to be in the shallower water while it's hot like this. And I have seen one carp in particular that keeps drifting around and he's moving about with a bit of pace. He looks catchable and he's a good mirror. He looks a good 30 all day long. And he keeps drifting about the area, so the right hand rod, I switched that onto a zig. I've started at 2 foot under the surface, but until I start to see anything else, I'm just going to stick with what I'm doing. Not going to put any more bait in or anything like that. A bit more bait will go in tonight when I reset the traps. But what I'm hoping a few fish move in and I can, you know, put all 3 out on zigs. Or maybe get a chance off the top. But fingers crossed on that front. We can only sit here and hope for that. I mean, this place isn't renowned for doing bites in the daytime anyway. But in this bay, you know, you've got as good a chance as anywhere really. Or should I say, you've got a better chance than the rest of the lake. If I was in one of them open water swims now, I think I'd probably have just reeled in and be resting the swim. But in here, there's always a chance in here. You just never know. There's always the odd fish that get in here, even when you're not seeing them. Well, I was really pleased with that common this morning. Absolutely chuffed to bits with that. Looked like an original fish, that did. I don't know for sure, but it did look like an old fish, that. And the positive side as well of catching a tench, you know your rigs are working well when you're catching tench. You know, you normally have to finesse things to start catching a few tench. So I can only take the positive from that. I don't mind catching the odd tench when it tells you that your rigs are working. I especially don't mind catching them at that size neither. Last night was fairly quiet though. It was quite a quiet night. It was a really dark night, especially in this corner. I couldn't see much at all. I did hear a few catfish slap in the night though. One of them was quite close in. It woke me up. Went with a right slap. Yeah, there's certainly a few catfish getting to this area at night time. I see that mirror again now. It's too hard for me to pick up on the camera, but he's just about here at the minute. Yeah, and he's still moving with pace. I will persevere with that zig, I think. There's always a chance while that's out there. But it is one of them in here, you know, they can just turn up any time. Even when the conditions are not perfect for them, they can just turn up in numbers in here. One thing's for sure though, I'm feeling really positive for tonight. I'm really excited to see what tomorrow morning brings. I do love it here. I've got to admit, I do love it on this lake. It'd be really nice to catch one of the real big ones though. But I shall definitely come back here later on in the year. I think in the autumn time I'll come and have a couple of sessions on here. Well, I think I'm gonna have something to eat. I'm getting hungry. Good evening, and what a glorious evening it is too. Within the last sort of 10-15 minutes the fish have turned up here in numbers. There's quite a few fish in front of me at the moment, and I've not long got all the rods sorted for tonight. Over the back here where one of my rods is, the reeds have been knocking there, and over that spot over there I've got one there, and a fish just showed over there. But every now and then you keep seeing the odd shadow going past in this area. It's like somebody's just flicked a switch and have just turned up here. At one point I reckon I could have counted at least 20 carp out there. But it's been really frustrating today with that bright hot sun. The fish that did get in here, there wasn't many of them, but what did get in here, they just was not interested at all. I switched all three over onto zigs. I think it was about 12:30, 1 o'clock time. And you know, I tried altering the depths. I come up so there was like a foot under the surface. But no, nothing I did. But these fish look like they're in a total different mood now. They're moving about, and like I say, the couple of shows that I've seen, they've been cleaning the gills out. So a clear indication that they're feeding on something. I hope one shows for the camera, that'd be wicked. I'm really positive for tonight. The only change that I have made for tonight is the rod that was fishing further over on that tree line over there. I've actually brought it close in, and it's just on the marginal drop off here. It drops down into 9 foot, and I've put it just at the bottom of that shelf. The fish seem to tend to cruise up and down that marginal shelf. Although the ones I'm seeing are up near the surface, but they do definitely use that as a patrol line. So I think it's worth a shout moving that one there. Oh, I wish the camera could see what I'm seeing now. I can see 3 fish out there on the surface. I have put some pellets and mixers out there, but they're not interested in them. But to be honest, as soon as you do that, the gulls just come and annihilate it. I've kept everything the same, all the rigs are the same, the bait's the same, my baiting approach is the same. Well, I'm feeling super confident going into the last night. A repeat of what happened this morning would be really good. Fingers crossed on that front. Oh, I don't know if you clocked that. He just took something off the surface. Oh, it makes you want to get the floater rod out when you see that. But he is there literally on his own. That's the first one I've seen take off the surface today as well. There's another fish just coming across my rods here as well. You see it? Here. And there. Oh, I'm sitting here now. It's electric. Absolutely electric. I'm super buzzing. Anyway, I'm gonna stop waffling on and get myself sorted, get some tea, and hopefully you'll see me very soon. Well, good morning, and an eventful morning at that. It's been mixed emotions. I lost my first bite this morning and picked up into it, and I only had it on for about 30 seconds and the hook pulled. So I got the rod back out, made a brew, sat down, and I really thought that was it, my chance was over. But then it rattled off again, the same rod, and we've got a scraper 30 common, 30 pound and 2 ounce. So I am chuffed to bits. I really thought I'd blown it this morning. I've had to spin the camera around so I'm getting dappled sunlight through the trees. Here we go, look. Check him out. Another swan gem. Real short fat fish, this one. Beautiful colours. Yes. Mwah. And he's come to the wafter again. The LM94 wafter. Here you go. Lovely. Oh yes. Well, I'm made up. I'm going to slip him back and fingers crossed for another, although I don't think so because the sun's getting up now. Well, have I got a story to tell you. I had everything wrapped up really, the session all pretty much wrapped up, everything packed up apart from the rods. Done my little talk, the outro. I'm gonna have to scrap that now because the rod's just ripped off. And like I said, everything was away, even my waders, so I've had to jump in for it. It took me under the trees, I've had to jump in. But it's a right character this, a two-tone mirror, really short fat thing, £31.6. I do not mind unpacking everything and getting it all wet for one of these bad boys. Oh, he's going to be hard to hold, he is. He's really short and fat. Look at him. Look at belly on that. Definitely spawn bound, this one. Oh, you are lovely. Mwah. I'll spin him round. I don't want to keep him out long. He looks like it, or he or she should I say, looks like he's ready for dropping. And there you go, look, two-tone on that side. Really distinctive looking fish, that. Proper character. Oh, what an epic session. I can't believe it. And what a way to finish the vlog. I will give a little talk to you because there's a few things I want to say which I've been doing on this session which I really think could help you benefit. Well, that's it, the session's all wrapped up now. I've just got to reel them 2 rods in that's behind me and we're away. But there is one thing I wanted to point out before I went, and that's the baiting application. I know I've said it before, but real small amounts of bait. I'm talking literally 1 good handful or 2 small handfuls. That's what's been going out over each rig. Just take a look at this. That's literally the amount which I've been putting out over each rig every time, and I've just been sitting on it. I don't think I'd have had that kind of success if I'd have put any bait out there. Although I've made it look easy, it's far from easy, especially at the moment. I know things change, but at the moment that's what's working for me. And I suppose a big edge, what I believe is the biggest edge for me on this session, is the LM94 food syrup. You know, I've used a full bottle of this on this session, so although I'm only putting a small amount of bait in, it's getting a good helping of this, you know, sending off lots of attractions to pull them down to that spot. Yeah, and the last 3 bites that I've had have all come on the LM94 wafter, but they're a 15mm bait then, and I wasn't comfortable fishing a 15mm bait, so I whittled it down to around about 11-12mm. Just so it wasn't as blatant and it sort of matched what I was putting out there. And one more thing before I go, I'd like to thank everybody that takes the time to watch these vlogs that I do, and I'm offering a 25% discount on any PVA product you want from Castaway PVA. You don't have to be subscribed or anything like that. The link will be in the description box below. All you do is fill your basket with whatever you want and then put the code in, which is in the description box below, and that'll give you 25% off anything you want. So yeah, until next time, please subscribe and I'll see you on the next one.